Still in Australia, but nearly 2,000 miles south, lives a very peculiar animal whose anatomy has baffled scientists for hundreds of years. And on hand to investigate its remarkable method of hunting is marine biologist Shanta Bali.
I've joined ecologist Josh Griffiths on the Yarra River just outside Melbourne to track down the famous oddity that lurks in these waters. It was once considered a primitive mammal.
But new research is revealing that this animal is the ultimate predator in the creeks and rivers of Australia. I'm hoping to find a platypus.
The egg-laying platypus is one of the oddest animals on the planet. It looks like a cross between a duck, a beaver, and an otter. It's estimated there could be tens of thousands in the wild, but numbers are dwindling as a result of severe drought and pollution. They're most active at night, and it's almost impossible to spot one, let alone catch one. But if anyone can catch one, Josh can. He's been monitoring the success of the wild population in this area for 6 years, and has become a leading expert on these animals.
If you had a good look at the rocks, you'd probably see some of the things that platypus are eating. Some of the insect larvae, small crustaceans, worms, and that's what they're looking for, little invertebrates like that.
Using its bill, the platypus needs to hoover up 1/3 of its body weight in food every single night. And it does all of this in the dark. With the net in place and night drawing in, all we can do now is wait. I've heard that the way that this extraordinary creature hunts is similar to a shark. And as a marine biologist and shark expert, I'm fascinated to know more.
We know that they can detect the electrical impulses of animals moving underwater. So those tiny little insects that we saw this afternoon, their muscle contractions creates a minute electrical impulse.
It must be absolutely tiny.
It's tiny. It's something that a lot of our really sensitive equipment can't even pick up.
After 6 hours, we finally spot movement in the net.
We got anything?
I tell you what.
We got something?
I tell you what. There he is.
Most amazing thing. Well, he's holding on, isn't he?
Yeah, they're really strong little creatures. And that is a little male.
We finally got one.
To prevent him from getting stressed, we put the platypus in a bag. And while we record his size, weight, and general health, it's an opportunity for me to get a close look at his remarkable bill, which detects these electrical signals, allowing him to hunt so effectively in the dark.
So he's just poked his bill out of the hole in the bag.
Can I touch it?
Yeah, it's very different to what people expect.
Oh my gosh.
It's not hard like a duck's bill, it's actually quite soft to touch.
Wow, it's so soft.
You can see the little pores that are all through the bill.
They're very fine.
There's thousands of them across the bill.
Around 40,000 tiny bumps speckle the bill. These are the receptors that detect minute electrical currents. This is how the platypus can pick out a single worm wriggling on a rock in a pitch-black running river.
And what's really jumping out at me is the concentration is really high on the edges of the bill, and that's exactly what you get in the hammerhead shark, with that really weird head. They also have electroreceptors really in high densities right on the edges of the head.
Astonishingly, this bill contains more than 10 times the number of electrical receptors as the hammerhead shark.
So in some ways, the platypus is actually a more effective hunter than the shark.
Well, I like to think they're superior anyway. Okay.
With the checkup complete, it's time to return this supreme hunter to the river.
Let's let him get back to doing what he does best.
Yeah.
I've examined a platypus's bill,
There he goes.
but I've yet to see it in action.
Go on, go on.
So I'm heading to Healesville Sanctuary, a haven for threatened native Australian species 40 miles from Melbourne. It's home to a female platypus called Yamakuna.
So acrobatic.
It's feeding time for Yamakuna. On the menu, bloodworms.
The bloodworms are alive, so they're emitting electrical signals. When Yamakuna detects those signals, she shuts down her eyes and her ears. and lets her bill take over.
It might look like haphazard snuffling for food, but this is precision hunting. Although her eyes and ears are closed, her bill's electroreceptors come into play.
As she swings her head from side to side, she's casting a 3D invisible net. It picks up the worm's electrical signals.
Yamakuna's bill also detects the minuscule pressure waves produced by the wriggling worms. As the intensity of the electrical signals and pressure waves increases, she knows exactly how close the worms are.
And this allows Yamakuna to strike with deadly accuracy.
A few minutes is all it takes to track, locate, and eat hundreds of worms. For me, the comparison with sharks is fascinating. Both detect electrical signals and pressure waves. The platypus even has similar body movements to a hammerhead shark when hunting, swaying its head from side to side. The shark needs sight and smell to home in on its prey, but amazingly, the platypus hunts without these senses. Just like the shark in our oceans, the platypus is master of its environment. Thanks to its extraordinary bill, it's the perfect predator.